welcome to the Swift Half, your weekly session of chat from the UK OCR and adventure running scene. Each week, pub landlord Alan and our favourite regular Ian discuss races, runners and anything else that comes to mind. So pull up a pew, pour yourself a drink and join us for the Swift Half.
Ian, my friend, welcome to the Swift Half. How are you?
I'm great, Alan. How are you? We are 8 days out from the UK OCR Awards, Alan. Isn't that fantastic? We get to see each other in person again.
I know, Ian. I'm actually so giddy for going. So a couple of things have happened this week. I haven't even told you yet. A couple of things have happened. I'm heading up to Voom Nutrition on the Friday to their factory to get freebies for everyone who's attending.
That is incredible. Are you having to work for these freebies? Are they going to put one of them nets on your hair and a white coat and, you're going to be on production line?
Well, they have told me they're taking me into the factory, which I was excited about, but now you've just said that to me. I'm thinking they might make me work for these freebies.
They might be, but if you're on the line, if that white jacket's got a load of pockets, we can make out like bandits.
Just stuff it in. I can get that. There'll be more than just a few freebies. We'll have lots and lots of freebies. No, but I've been invited up to have a look around the factory and pick up some freebies for the awards. So I wasn't going to turn it down, Ian. I wasn't going to turn it down. They've got some new products launching soon at Voom. They've been really good. They've given all the series, the top 10 of the series, men and female vouchers for us. So, and then the sponsoring the awards. So get in there. Absolutely fantastic. Voom, you are superstars. Thank you very much indeed.
No, thank you so much, Voom. They've been a long time supporter of the show. Not exactly a sponsor, but they've really supported us through the years, almost from the start.
They have. It's just one of them companies here that they value relationships. The guy who runs it, Robin, who owns it, I won't say runs it, he owns it, is a really nice, down-to-earth bloke. And he started it up. I think we did a podcast with him about 3 or 4 years ago, and he started it up as a bit of a whim and realised, we can turn this into a business. And he's constantly searching for that next perfect product. I mean, I've used Voom, love Voom, and I've said this to him. I said, but it's great for an instant hit. I want something longer term. And that's why I use Enduo. It's more like natural fuels for ultra running. But I love Voom because you can carry it around and you just pop it in your mouth and it just melts. It's like slow releasing. So it's good rather than that instant gel and that stickiness you get from gels, which I hate. So
yeah, I've never been a fan of stickiness of gels. As you know, I'm a real food person. So, as I'm running, listener, I'll have Yorkshire pudding just there with some roast beef ready to eat during my 5K. That's how I roll. But no, I'm traditionally a Haribo chomper, but Voom, yeah, I can get behind Voom. I'll be honest, not used it in a while because I've not had a freebie in a while, but I probably should eventually start buying it because I do like it when I get it.
You will get some freebies in for this one. I think he's going to give me some beetroot ones because beetroot is one of these new, well, it's not new, it's been going a while, hasn't it? It's one of these foods that they reckon that ultra runners should use, but it actually tastes awful. So I am going to get some of those while I'm there, and they might just stop in my bag and not make it out for the awards. Only joking, but yeah.
Kind of beetroot, is it pickled beetroot or is it just regular beetroot?
It's just like regular beetroot, but they put it with chocolate. And I was speaking to him about it, and I was saying that I tried the beetroot one, and I do like beetroot. I am a fan of beetroot, but sometimes it just doesn't. It leaves an aftertaste in your mouth. So they put it with chocolate, I believe, and it tastes a little bit different. So it's a beetroot and chocolate. So again, all the nutritions of beetroot, but with the sweetness and the nice. Well, chocolate tastes nice, doesn't it? Let's face it. There's probably nothing nicer on the earth than chocolate.
No, that is true. Chocolate's one of them things I know people have, but I just can't quit chocolate. There's just something about it that you can't quite describe. And the thing is, you probably couldn't describe a taste of chocolate to anyone.
No. Well, I have a friend, one of our friends is a real chocoholic, real chung. He loves chocolate. I think every Secret Santa we've done is had someone's bought him chocolate and he raves over it.
He does, but he runs a lot, so it doesn't impact him the same it impacts me and you.
That is a very valid point. I've got some news for you about the awards. But the awards, let's go back to the awards festival. There's an email going out this weekend. I'm finalising today the timings and everything else. There's an email going out to everyone this week, so keep an eye out for that email over the weekend. I am busy over the weekend, but I'm going to try and get it done on Sunday. So just keep an eye out, people. But one other thing, parking, Ian. New job starts next week. Yeah, so new job starts on Monday. We talked about parking. Do you want an update on my parking situation?
I do, but we should clarify this is not parking at the venue for UK OCR Awards. We've moved on to a completely new topic.
We have, yes. My new job, I get a parking space in Sheffield in an underground car park, and I went to see it this weekend. I went to see my parking space. Didn't bother going to see in the building that I'm going to be working in. That don't bother me. It's the parking space in the centre of Sheffield. And I need to sell my car and buy a Mini. In fact, no, I need to buy myself sell my car and buy myself a Matchbox car, because there is no way am I going to park my pickup truck in that car parking space. So I'm contemplating your idea, Ian, and I'm going to hire it out.
That's probably a good idea, although I might have an idea which is even better.
I'm open to even better ideas. What's your better idea?
Well, this week I was driving on the motorway and I saw the scourge of hedgehogs. I've not seen one of these for years.
The scourge of hedgehogs? I am lost with this now.
Well, do you not remember that old joke?
No, I'm lost. If people could see me now, I'm like completely stumped. My face is like, tell me the joke.
Okay. Well, young hedgehogs are always taught that, if you're crossing the road and you see a car, line up the two headlights on either side of you and you'll be perfectly safe.
Okay, I know where this is going. Yeah, go on.
And then, wouldn't you know it, the first time that young Freddie Hedgehog went out, first car he sees, Robin Reliant.
Robin Reliant, yeah.
I didn't know any of them were still running, but obviously they are. And younger listeners, you're going to have to look at what a Robin Reliant is. It's a freewheeler. You actually don't need a driving license. You can get away with just a bike license for a Robin Reliant. But Alan, that would solve all your problems and you could sell stuff out the back.
I love that, yeah. Like Del Boy sells stuff out of the back. I love that. How much are a Robin Reliant? I'm going to have a look online now to see how much a Robin Reliant is. Here we go. Let's go on eBay. They're not going to have it. No, they haven't gotten on. Classic cars. Reliant classic cars. No. eBay's not gotten on for sale. I'm sure you're not going to be able to buy a Robin Reliant.
You might find one on Antiques Roadshow. Check that website.
I found one. Classic cars. So a 1974 Robin Reliant 750cc, 1,750 £. Oh wow! They got a 1991 for 2,500. It's only got 69,000 miles on it.
It's probably been clocked 3 times.
I bet you're not far off that. I think I want one now. No, Paula would not allow me to park a Robin Reliant in our drive, I don't think.
Oh, yeah, a bright yellow one. It would just, one of our colours, fitness racing colour is yellow. So, a nice yellow Robin Reliant. We can put fitness racing podcast on one side, UK OCR podcast on the other. We could have Who's Hot positioned strategically near the exhaust pipe because you won't be able to tell the difference between the logo and the flames coming out of the exhaust pipe. And we could put pint-sized and never stumped on the bonnet. It's perfect.
I'm liking your thoughts here. I'm liking your thoughts, but I'm going to tell you, Dan, I love the idea of one of these, but I'm actually thinking what we could do, we wouldn't even need to drive it. Because I reckon they're that small, we could actually just put it on the back of the flatbed of my truck, of my pickup, and we could just drive it round on the back of the pickup.
You could. It doesn't solve your parking problem unless you're going to just dump it there every day and then go and find an NCP. You can't even find an NCP. They're bankrupt.
Oh, I know. I'm going to catch the train anyway. But anyway, that's my parking update and my job update, which has been happening over last weekend and this week. Before we go on to some news, let's talk about your trip up to Scotland last weekend, because you went up to Scotland and you were going to go up on the train and things like that, but things changed.
Yeah, they did. It's not a particularly long story, but basically, listener, the intern was checking our trains and she noted that our train, obviously to Glasgow, it wasn't going as far as Glasgow. It had been cancelled. And we were like, okay, that's fine. Get us to Motherwell. That's fine. Nope, it was cancelled all the way down to Lockerbie. And there was no guarantee it would go that far. And I was thinking, Lockerbie's an awful long walk. It's like 90 miles to Glasgow. And we were setting off early and we were racing the same day. So in the end, I bit the bullet. I thought, got a new-ish car now. It can drive it there. And yeah, it was fine. 180 miles in 3 hours, 1 mile in Glasgow city centre, half an hour.
I love that. When you told me, I was thinking, absolutely brilliant. 60 mile an hour, and then let's go down to 60 meters an hour. Oh, near enough.
I strongly dislike driving in city centres, but my desire to stay in a train station, not knowing how I'm getting home, is less than my desire to avoid driving in city centres. So it was fine. The only problem, though, Alan, is I lost time doing it. You were mentioning there you're going to catch the train to work,
Yeah.
and I had in my head, and listeners probably do this. When you've got a journey planned, you also probably think, oh, if I'm not driving that journey, well, there's all this stuff I can be doing. Like I can be catching up on paperwork or reading a book or something, or in this case, writing decent notes for the Swift Half. So, listener, strap yourself in. It's going to be an interesting show. But I basically lost about 8 hours of time that mentally I'd allotted for doing other stuff, and trying to catch up after that, it's hard. But we went to tea-based services. I had a steak and ale pie, always right in the world.
I like that. A steak and ale pie. Absolutely brilliant. How was IROX, by the way?
It was fine. It was good. We barely spent any time in it. We went for our race and then left. We ended up racing in the afternoon, which was fine. Meant we finished around 9 p.m., which meant actually, yeah, this is what struck me, because we were trying to figure out when we left the venue, we went into the centre of Glasgow and people were there on a night out and they were loud and they were having a good time, but we just never experienced that before. I think every single previous trip, we've always got into Glasgow Central either too late or too early for that time, when pubs are starting to kick out and clubs are starting to open, and there was a lot of people. I just wasn't mentally prepared for that, walking around in a tiny pair of shorts whilst they're all glammed up.
Well, you're walking around in a tiny pair of shorts. I'm pretty certain that everyone else was walking around in tiny pair of shorts if they're all glammed up, because if it's anything like Barnsley, that's what we've had this week with the sunshine.
That's true. They do taps off, or however you pronounce it. Again, apologies to Graham, apologies to Martin for the terrible Scottish there. But yeah, that's something they do. But the only sad thing, Alan, was we had to, of course, walk past the central station to get to our train to get us over. And it's sad. One, the building itself being burnt down is sad. It's also become a little bit of a morbid tourist attraction, and I just don't know what to feel about.
Okay, I can see where you're coming from. It's one of them like Moors. I don't think anyone died in it, did there? So it's like it's not morbid in that sense, but it's a building of great grandeur. I've seen the pictures in the newspapers and the newspapers actually online. The media and that, and it looks like an amazing building. I think people potentially might just be going to take pictures before it gets. I don't know. I'm just going to try and rebuild it, but it'll be different, won't it? Even if it's rebuilt, it'll be different. It won't be the same.
Yeah, that's true. I guess in some ways people might be, as silly as it sounds, because it is a building and that it's not a person. Thankfully, no one passed. Some businesses, of course, are probably in trouble now because where they used to work is no longer there. But I guess, maybe people hopefully were just there to pay the last respects and weren't there just for some cheap likes on Instagram. Let's go with that first one. People were there to say goodbye, and I can live with that. Let's move on. Let's talk about what you're drinking.
Oh, we haven't even talked about what we are drinking tonight. We were well into this tonight, and we haven't even asked. I'm still on the Peroni. I called at the off license last night and got a few more cases. £7 a case, 12 for 12 bottles in. I'm going to be on this for the rest of the year. And that's just me just being a tight northerner.
Well, tonight, I almost said tonight, Matthew. Tonight, Alan. I'm on beer. Well, I'm on some root beer. I managed to find a inexpensive can in Morrison. So yeah, I do like root beer. I don't know what it is. I'll say it's almost like Marmite, isn't it? In that you either love it or hate it.
You're quite right. I am a fan of it. I've got to admit, I'm a fan of root beer. I quite like it. I like tasting something that's different. I'm not a massive fan of Coca-Cola, but I love Cherry Coke. Just that different flavour, and that's what root beer reminds me of. It's got that something to it. It's got that strange flavour to it. Don't know what it is that makes it strange, but it's good.
It really is. And I want to say a sarsaparilla type taste, but not quite. Sarsaparilla is different to root beer. And we don't make it over here. I think our nearest is dandelion and burdock, which you can only get from the pot man if he ever comes back.
Dandelion and burdock. Love that. Ben Shaw's dandelion and burdock. Loved it. Let's talk about something else that happened this last weekend, if you're good with this, which was the FISO result. So is FISO going to be disbanded? Is it not? There was the big meeting that happened on, I want to say, Sunday. And the result was virtually unanimous, Ian. Unanimous that the vote went through. And there is no more World Obstacle stroke FISO, or not going to be anymore. And there's now going to be integration into the UIPM family, which it's this. I'm going to read the thing that Ian Adams had put out. So this is his press statement. I am thrilled that the global obstacle community overwhelmingly supported the vote for disbandment. Perfect. Allowing us to proceed with integration into the UIPM family and unification of obstacle sports in the Olympic movement. This is the culmination of 12 years' work and the start of a new era for obstacle sports, affording new opportunities for millions of athletes and their communities on the greatest sporting stage on earth. I think he's jumping ahead of the gun here, Ian, yeah? Because the integration has not been agreed yet. Basically, from my understanding, yeah, and this is, I hope someone can tell me I'm wrong, is now that World Obstacle FISO is going to be no longer there's only one governing body, which is going to be UIPM. Yeah. So it's up to not an integration. It's up to how do people go? Do they join UIPM or don't they join UIPM? There's got to be another vote now, surely, or something like that, and a decision whether that's made. And will UIPM want everyone? This vote wasn't an integration of UIPM. It was like dissolve World Obstacle. Jumping ahead of himself, in my opinion, there, Ian.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit technical because we're kind of aware of the plan to some degree. Well, we're aware of what the plan is from a boss point of view, in that we've heard on multiple occasions on this show that it's not a case that, cool, bye-bye FISO, suddenly boss gets taken over by Pentathlon GB. As we understand the process, British Obstacle Sports can now apply for, is it observer membership or something similar? I can't remember the exact terminology, but it's...
Member candidates.
Right.
Member candidates.
Yeah, which means that we'd almost kind of like sit alongside Pentathlon GB in the wider ecosphere. Obviously, UIPM is conscious of the fact that the Olympics is always this idea of one sport, one governing body, but it also sounds like, particularly from a few years ago, UIPM is much more comfortable with this idea of, at least temporarily, there being two bodies, and we'll see where it goes. The end hasn't been assigned now. We're going to take it one step at a time, and it might change, because who knows, Alan? If modern pentathlon isn't in the Olympics in 2032 at Brisbane, then suddenly they're in a lot of trouble, whereas obstacle will just carry on. Suddenly, the obstacle side of things is probably incredibly valuable, because when you think about competitions, there's probably a lot more obstacle competitions than pentathlon competition. So it's very much a wait and see process now, listener. I will say that, unfortunately, me and Alan, we tried our hardest, but we decided we couldn't be bothered setting up our own obstacle federation. It it took, we took literally 20 minutes agonizing over the decision, and then we thought we'd go to a pub instead. Well, virtual pub.
Yes, definitely, definitely. But I'm going to go to the UIPM. I've released a statement as well on the back of it, Ian, that says national federations currently affiliated with FISO will enter the status UIPM member candidates and operate under the integration principles in the transition period. And the transition period will run until 31st December 2027, allowing time for national integration process to be completed. So I guess if you want to be integrated, which 96.2%, I think was landslide, will potentially want to be. I think us, as British Obstacle Sports members, I think we want to be integrated because we want to see a international governing body. Maybe I need to get James on to find out if that's the case. I think it does. I'm pretty certain it did when we spoke last time. It seems ages since I spoke to him, but it was only 3 weeks ago.
Wasn't it last week? Didn't we literally have him on the show last week?
We did, but it wasn't more about, there wasn't a great deal about the ins and outs, was it? So it was about 3 weeks ago, I think I spoke to him, got all the ins and outs about it. Doesn't time fly?
It really does, Alan. It does. And yeah, so listen, very much a wait and see, but FISO has been dissolved, which achieved a 13.5-year goal for me. I'm kidding, listener. I'm kidding. Sorry.
That's a cracker. That's the best one you've brought out yet. Talking about time flying. Derby 10K last weekend. Yeah. So Derby 10K, which leads us on to, time flew for a lot of runners at this race. The reason why time flew, it leads us on to last week's topics of should people running 18 miles in a 26-mile race be awarded a medal. Everyone in the Derby 10K ran 9.6 kilometres and all got a medal. Their PBs broken left, right and centre in, only to find out they'd measured the course wrong. What do you reckon to this? How can you have a UK-affiliated race measure a course wrong? It's only 10K. You can walk it in 2 hours and measure it with a wheel.
Yeah, this puzzled me as to how you mess up on the racing line, because in theory, most people, when you're running a 10K, particularly a city or a town 10K, you're going to do more than 10K. So how on earth did they mess it up so bad that not just the racing line wasn't 10K, but the area where most people were running wasn't 10K? Have they confirmed how short they actually were?
Exactly 400 metres. Exactly 400 metres. It was literally, everyone was getting up, and there was lots of talk on Strava about it. You know, people were putting on Strava, ran Barnsley 10K, and it was showing running Derby 10K, and it kept showing up 9.6 kilometres, and virtually everyone was the same. So UK Athletics have been involved, and they've gone out and remeasured the course, and it did come in at exactly 9.6 kilometre. Now, they are saying that it was measured prior, a couple of weeks before. It was measured prior. Then there was a course change due to some flooding, so they remeasured it. Yeah, and in the remeasure, the team that remeasured it, which was AUKCM, which is an affiliated measuring company, they suggested that they move the start and the finish line to make it the exact distance. However, and this is the official report, is the map they were given, there was a turnaround section. So you went up a road and you turned around. And the map they were given, you turned around at a roundabout or something like that. However, when they actually did the course markings, they turned them around at some traffic lights, which was over 200 metres short of this roundabout. Hence, they got a 9.6 kilometre event instead of a 10 kilometre event.
Yeah, that's always the danger when you have a turnaround in the event, just knowing, because I've done park runs which have a cone set up for a turnaround, and you always wonder, I know it doesn't really matter because it's a park run. I guess it can matter, but you always wonder what happens if someone kicks a cone or something like that. But yeah, never been a fan of out and backs on events. I am aware that, listener, Barnsley no longer has a 10K. Alan mentioned it there. Barnsley no longer has a 10K because they did it as a point-to-point, leaving the city. And guess what? No one came back.
I knew you were going to bring some up. As soon as you said point to point, I think no one's ever come back. Best part of Barnsley, the road that leads out of it. I've heard these jokes before, Ian. These are getting old now. You need to get some new material, my friend.
I absolutely do. So, listener, My DMs are open. Send me new jokes. You know how to reach me.
Oh, talking about reaching, Matt Brook reached out to me the other week, showed me a new pair of running shoes, Ian, told me I had to get a pair. I went shopping at the weekend for a suit, saw the running shoes that he suggested to me, decided I wasn't going to get them. Next thing I know, Paula went, no, let's go back and get them running shoes. So Matt Brook and Paula made me buy a new pair of Adidas T-Rex running shoes.
And I bet you he didn't even give you a discount code.
No discount code. But you know, there was in the Adidas store, £160 down to 80 quid. I guess that's why Paul let me have them. So, you know, bargain, half price, and they feel so good. Not running them yet, but they feel so good on my feet.
I like that. You basically used them as slippers for the last week.
Ian, the white. I don't run in them. The white with a little bit of orange. I don't run in them. I want to keep them clean.
That's fair. They're not going to stay clean for long, unless you could like coat them in a special material. You know, like you put on your cars, so the dirt and the water just splashes straight off. Maybe you can do that. Of course, your feet will sweat to death, but at least they'll stay white.
I think that when it splashes off, they're called Wellingtons, Ian. The water splashes off your Wellingtons, not so much off the running shoe.
I'm sure I've got like Diamond Bright on my car, which basically means all the water just comes straight off. Well, it lasts about a week. I know, listener, they give you something to keep it up, but I'm lazy when it comes to that. So, yeah, it lasts about a week. But for that week, I have the cleanest car ever. But you mentioned, Matt, there, we've got some Spartan and some Tough Mudder news, haven't we? So let's go to the Spartan news.
Spartan news. So Spartan Medals, they've released something called an ITAB. That's ITAB, and it's going to be at some of the big races. So I think it's going to be in Havar. I'm just going to get the link up. So Havar's in Switzerland 2026. You're going to be able to, on the back of the medal, replace part of the medal with your name and your time that you finished in. So, you know, like sometimes they engrave it, but rather than engrave, this is actually going to be like it looks like a metal magnetic plaque that fits into the back of the medal. I'm loving this idea, Ian. I think this is great.
Yeah, I think it's such a good way of tapping into making this year, which we know is all about the hexes and all that, just making it one of the best years yet in terms of bling.
Me too. I think, you know, we're all going to get the X's. We're all going to try and collect the X's as we're going along and doing things. But if you do something special, you can order these. So you don't have to order them on race day. You order them afterwards. I love the idea that if you do something amazing, you know, you run a Spartan sprint in, I don't know, 35 minutes, if that's good. I don't know what people's goods are, but it's a PB for you. This is a way of remembering that PB. So I think it's absolutely an amazing idea. Well done, Spartan, for bringing something else new to the table. Like you say, they're doing so much new stuff this year. It's absolutely amazing.
Speaking of new stuff, in the UK Spartan group, Dawn Jolly shared that there's a new UK Spartan rulebook. I've not yet put it through ChatGPT, so I'm not aware of all the changes that they've made yet. It has been pointed out by Mark Spittle that what they have done is they've thrown in all the obstacles from everywhere worldwide. So just because there's obstacles in there doesn't mean we're going to see them. And our good friend Graham Wells pointed something interesting out, which I think is great. So, unauthorized equipment. No competitive shall at any time during the event use or wear a hard cast, crampons or metal studs, external rigging, trekking poles, so leave your trekking poles at home, headsets, radios, personal audio devices, including MP3 players, glue, chalk, or any other item deemed to provide a competitive advantage. The reason I stopped on chalk, which was the point that Graham Wells made, until recently, Spartan had a liquid chalk sponsorship.
Do you think they've lost the sponsorship, so they're not saying you can never use chalk?
Potentially, yeah. So we'll see. It's definitely something to be aware of, because some people do like carrying chalk with them, particularly for, I was going to say Funky Monkey for a second there, but no, for Twister, for the other Spartan obstacle. They're named easy, aren't they, in Spartan? Monkey bars.
Monkey bars, that's it. That's it. Monkey bars.
Yeah, ditching the road.
Yeah.
Net.
Crawl.
Yeah, crawl. Yeah, some people did used to use chalk, but apparently you can no longer. So make sure you have a look through the rule book, all 71 pages of it, just in case for this coming season.
That's interesting, that, because I remember the rule book used to turn around and say you could carry things, but you had to take them off course with you. You couldn't carry something on course, leave it on course, and take it off. Because I remember VJ doing it in one of the national championships in America with a tire, and he pulled a towel out of his pocket and dried his hands before he did a tire flip or something like a really heavy tire flip. So yeah, I think if that's what they're putting, that's what they're putting. Which I think's a bit ants, really, but hey-oh.
Well, I will point out they haven't said anything about toweling equipment. So I guess, although it might be worthless if you go under a dunk wall. See, I know Spartan obstacles, but if you go under a dunk wall before the monkey bars, your towel might get a little bit wet. But if the monkey bars are early enough, carry a towel. Just got to carry it all the way around.
Yeah. I think VJ used it to wipe mud off his hands. So even though the towel was wet, he wiped mud off his hands. Staying on the Spartan Tough Mudder, community awards are open. You can now vote for community awards, which are going to be given away at World's Toughest Mudder Brunch. Have you made your vote yet, Ian? Have you voted anyone in there?
I've not voted anyone in yet. I'm waiting, presumably we're going to do a podcast about it, no?
We're going to do a WTM podcast, but not necessarily about the community award.
Okay, so you mean I have to think for myself this time?
I'm afraid you do, Ian. Or you can do what I did and use ChatGPT.
That's a second reference for chatting about 5 minutes. Listener, just to reassure you, me and Alan are not chat. We are real people. But so you asked, did you ask chat to vote for you, or did you ask it to kind of like give you suggestions?
No. So I chose the ones I want to vote for, and I put it into ChatGPT, and I said, this is the criteria for the award. This is the person I want to vote, and the reason why I want to vote them. And can you please write me a better description than what I can? And it came up with some absolutely corkers, Ian. So I put my votes in. I think it's Grit Award, Camaraderie Award. Oh, and I can't think of what the other award is. Achievement Award. Grit, Achievement, and Camaraderie.
How did you think? Well, how did ChatGPT think of 3 different ways to describe me for each and every one of them awards? That's remarkable.
No idea, Ian. He just turned around and said, absolutely. He says, Ian K. I want to vote for Ian K. And then gave me a load of stuff. It was quoting Shakespeare and things like that. And I was like absolutely amazed what it came up with. I just didn't have enough words to fill it up, Ian. I didn't have enough space to put all the description in for you, Ian.
Oh, that's such a shame. I hope it looked at the right Ian K, because there's some interesting Ian Ks out there. Have you ever done this? Have you ever looked for people who have similar names to you?
Yes, I have. Apparently, I'm an author who does science fiction book, and probably a well-known author as well, but he's a well-known author that does science fiction books. But what is your Ian K one?
Well, I've got a couple that I'm aware of. One, not great, I'll be honest. One is also known as the Woolworths Killer, and he's currently serving a long time in prison. So we don't talk about that one. That must be an Ian K by marriage.
No, what did you went? I've got one that's not great, and then you went. I'm thinking, then you're going to go a better one. You come up with one that's a killer. So I want to know what the really one that's not great is. That's really
yeah, but the one that's not great is the Woolworths Killer. The other one, and I only saw this because it came up on a movie. I've got an Ian K out there who's a stunt double.
Oh no, who's he a stunt double for?
Well, should we look at some of the films he's been in?
Go on.
He has been a stunt performer in Harry Potter.
Oh, is he Dumbledore?
No, he's quite a handsome chap, actually, so he must have been Harry.
Must have been Harry.
It must have been Harry. Avengers.
Oh, wow.
Most recently, he was a stunt double for the film, what's it called? The Huntsman, A Winter's War is what he's also been in. And quite a few, but yeah, he was also in Wonder Woman as well. It was, I can't even remember what I watched, and his name was just there. And you know when you recognize your name, don't you?
Yeah. Pops up, you see it straight away, don't you?
Yeah, it does. And that was it, what we were watching. Live action, How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, wow.
So there's an Ian K out there who has met real dragons. How cool.
Wow. Listeners, I'm interested now. It's got me a really good thing. The pub podcast, if you're in the pub podcast, I want you to put a link to who is your alter ego. So I'm going to call it Ian's alter ego stuntman. Mine's an author of science fiction. Who's your alter ego? And it's got to be someone who's real, same name as you. Pop it in there. Let's all have a bit of a laugh. I'll put mine in this week, Ian. You pop yours in. Links to them, and we can share. This is a bit of fun. This,
I think it could really be a bit of fun. And Alan, who knows? It could turn into a really good drinking game at the UK OCR Awards, where you try and impersonate your namesake. Although I won't do the Wolves Killer. That would not be great.
That would definitely not be great. And my guy Alan Moore's got a big beard. It looks a little bit like Dumbledore with a big black beard. Shall we move back to some news?
Let's move back to some news.
Wolf Run this week. So Wolf Run, they seem to be posting a lot of minute, or I'm seeing them more and more on my feed. And this week they have posted they're recruiting for someone. They want someone in a background in practical outdoor work, such as construction, landscaping, machinery operation, or event build. And basically, they're wanting someone to build the course, which I think is absolutely amazing, Ian. Lots of people out there in the OCR world that know a little bit about building. So could you be someone who wants to help build the course?
Has anyone got Doug the Beard's number?
Oh, how good. If you think about it out there, if they're going to employ anyone to build the course, Doug the Beard spends, that would elevate Wolf Run to a whole new level.
What would a wolf look like with a beard?
And they've got a little, stumpy beard, is that a wolf that's got a little stumpy beard? It's like werewolves have always got a stumpy beard, haven't they? When you ever watch a werewolf, they've always got a stumpy beard on the end.
They do, and the actors who play them always have sharp features. It's kind of strange.
Like sharp teeth, because they're playing werewolves in them type of sharp features. Exactly. Right, I promise you we'll get derailed today. Okay, let's go to Manchester. Unfortunately, there's been a real tragedy. Well, technically, that tragedy is that in Manchester gyms, you can no longer play the Bee Gees song Tragedy as part of your spin class. I love that you can't play Bee Gees song of Tragedy. You can't play Oasis. You can't play really any music now. So if I read this right, instructors in the spin classes or whatever class they're in, they can't use their own playlists. They've got to now use license-free music. This has got to be someone's been sued, haven't they, by what's the performing rights, haven't they? The Performing Rights Association have gone and sued them at some point for using music.
It must be anyone who has a business will have got a letter in the past from, I want to say, the PCP or something like that, who in theory collect money on behalf of all artists. So if you've got a TV, if you've got a radio that plays in your office, you're meant to have this license. And depending on how many people are attending, it can get rather pricey. So these, we should point out, are council-owned gyms. And basically, it sounds like, for whatever reason, they don't think having one of these licenses is worth it. So they've told all their instructors, look, you have to use license-free music, which there is some great songs out there. We use a couple in our stuff, but you can't all come out to the Fitness Racing Podcast song on a loop.
And this, I do find it a little bit funny, and I know how much it costs for these licenses because we have to purchase one every year. We use it for 1 day a year, and I think it costs us like £49. It was something like that. That's for 1 day a year. So I mean, when I was in pubs back in the 1990s, we used to have one, and I think it used to be about £100 back then for the full year. But now we're like 30 years on, so I wouldn't even like to think about how much it costs now to have one. But we all use music. So on our podcast, Ian, you're quite right. We use music in our podcast, and ours is license free. We purposely did that because we looked into it and we didn't want to pay a fee. So we looked to get using license free music, and we got some great music. But we all use TikTok and we all use Instagram, and quite a lot of the time we put music to that, and that's not always license free. Is this going to be the next step soon? That the licensing people are going to start affecting TikTok people?
Potentially, it's a little bit complicated on social media in that Instagram or TikTok do pay for license because they think it's a good business decision for their users to be able to use music because it adds so much when you're using an actual song. However, as we've seen to our own, well, chagrin a lot of the times, you have got things whereby if we use a licensed music on Facebook, occasionally we get an email saying that the owner of the copyright is claiming monetization of that particular reel. So,
Yeah.
Mr. Mouse, enjoy your free P is all I'll say when it comes to that. And occasionally, what will happen is the music will disappear because the licensing runs out. What's kind of interesting and a bit of a grey area, well, not a grey area, is when it's getting used for a commercial reason. So, a particular race, I'm not going to name it, but a particular race has a business account when it comes to Instagram, a very business account.
Yeah.
And because they are clearly using Instagram for a commercial purpose, they can't use most of the music. They're restricted to about 20,000 songs which are license free.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's interesting. What would happen if I'm thinking here, there could be a way around this. So they have TVs in there. What if they played MTV?
Well, if they play MTV, so you mean the gyms here, not our friends on Instagram?
Yeah, so the gyms. If the gyms put MTV on the TV.
You still need the license. The PCP or whoever runs it do both the TVs and the radios.
No way around it, Ian. They've either got to pay for the music or play license free then.
Exactly. The frustrating thing for the instructors is a lot of them actually own their own license, but because it's council and because council won't take any risk of, the music leaking out and being listened to people not authorized to listen to it. What a nanny state we're in, unauthorized listening of music. The council just won't let them. I know we're poking fun at it a little bit, but it is actually a sad indication of where we've kind of got to, isn't it? Because I absolutely agree that people who produce music, who produce any content, really do deserve to be paid for that content.
Yeah.
I also think, on one hand, you probably do need a robust organization that's kind of acting as a middle person, which will set out and license this. However, I think there's been a bit of mission creep when it comes to what I'm calling PCP, because they are relentless. And I guess why wouldn't there be? Because their whole existence and the reason they're getting money is through this. But you get stuff like this. And how is this actually aiding the artists? Because I don't know about you, Alan, but if I'm in a gym class and I hear a really good piece of music, I'll go back and I'll find it on my streaming device later and play it a few times. And they're only getting pennies off that, but they have now inserted themselves as an earworm to me. It's great advertising.
I completely agree on that. You're quite right, and I do that quite a lot. I'll listen to some music somewhere, I'll hear some music somewhere, and I'll go, "Oh, that's quite a good song." And then I tend to Shazam it. So if I'm out about and I see something, I use Shazam on my phone, find out what it's called, then I put it on Spotify and put it onto my playlist on Spotify. So I'm like that, and I would be doing exactly the same. If I was in a spin class and heard a good song, I'd be doing exactly the same as what you've just said, which then that helps the artist, because at the end of the day, if the world's massive, there's millions of people, and if you only got 0.01% of the world every day doing that, that's a lot of money for an artist.
It is. And of course, this is what I mean by mission creep. It doesn't help the PCP there because they're not getting all their money, but it is harming the artists. And it's one of them frustrating unintended consequences of bureaucracy, because that's what it is. It's bureaucracy. And even though I'm a lawyer, I'm definitely against bureaucracy. But let's move on to a happier topic. Oh, sorry, Al.
I was going to say, didn't you two actually release some music free of charge on Apple once or something like that?
They did. It was really frustrating with my old Apple phone that every so often when I was listening on the car, say my Spotify or Deezer as I use went down, all of a sudden U2 would start playing. It's like, no, I don't particularly like this album. If you're gonna force U2 on me, at least play the three songs everyone knows.
Sunday Bloody Sunday. Oh gosh, The Streets Have No Name and With or Without You.
Yes, and I would add to that. Oh, what's that song we do with Mary J. Blige?
Oh no, that's Joshua Tree.
One Love.
One Love. Oh yeah, One Love. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably drop Sunday Bloody Sunday for that one. But yeah, okay, there's four songs everyone knows.
The music corner. We never had a music corner.
Don't have a music corner. Let's go to fitness racing corner. There's been a fair bit of news. I'll go through some of the quick hitters. We are well, as you're listening to this, if you're listening on the Friday, we are in day one of 10 days of fitness racing that's happening in London Olympia. Friday, we've got the Elite 15 solo. Then Saturday, Sunday, we have got basically the Open Championships and another Elite 15 doubles on Saturday. The Open Championships, it's all open weights. It's not an invitational. You can go and do it, but the waves are structured so you're going against people in your age group. So like an actual championship. So that's super cool. Then on the Monday, actually, I'll come back to the Monday. Then on the Tuesday through to the Sunday, it's a regular HYROX event. So 6 days of basically, pro, open weights, etc. The reason I'm going to come back to the Monday is on the Monday, we have got, well, something a little bit different, Alan. HYROX are linking up with someone called Stan Browney. I suspect you're his biggest fan.
Yeah, no. No idea who he is.
He's a YouTuber, and 32 creators will battle live in a HYROX. Showing, this is his post, showing how much he knows the space. HYROX isn't capitalized.
Okay.
Great start. But anyway, 16 countries, teams of two, so doubles. So representing, I don't even know, but representing the UK, KSI and FISO. I presume you're a big KSI fan.
I know of him. I know of KSI. He's probably one of the people, very music orientated, I believe he is.
He also makes Prime, which is why we know him.
That's why we know him, yeah. Yeah.
From Brazil, we've got Victor and Rafael.
Yeah, oh, no, not them.
From Belgium, we've got Rob and Arno.
Oh, not Arno. I don't know him either.
From South Korea, we've got Kim and Kim.
Kim and Kim. Oh, that's like salt and salt. Instead of salt and pepper, Kim and Kim.
Kim and Kim. In Canada, we've got Jeffrey and Jeremy.
You're making these names up, surely.
No, I'm reading these off. From Australia, you're going to love this, but I think Australia's gonna win. They've got Dominic and Thanos.
Oh, they're real Australian names, aren't they? Where's Bruce and Bruce?
They missed the flight, so we've got Dominic and Thanos, but not that Thanos, if anyone's wondering. Although the Americans have Australian names, we've got Jeff and Toddy.
Jeff and Toddy. Oh, you are seriously, if I'm not watching you and you're keeping such a straight face, I would swear you are making these names up.
Mexico is represented by Diosdado and Patricio. I'm definitely not making those names up, and this is going to be insulting. They do sound like beer names.
They do. It's solid desperados.
Yeah, and finally, Germany, Noah and Paul. I haven't gone through all of them, but Alan, I imagine with the exception of KSI, you've no clue.
I seriously have no clue of any of them influencers. Yeah, wonderful, fantastic. Let's see what happens.
It's been live streamed at 1:30 on Monday, which of course is a perfect time to do anything like this. I presume it'll be recorded. You can watch it back. It should be fun because, yeah, we're joking about it. It's not mine. It's not Alan's scene, YouTube, but it might encourage more kids to take part. Because I bet you, if you'd said those names to Harley 6 years ago, he'd absolutely know who all of them are. And HYROX does have young stars at this upcoming London event. So if it encourages more kids to do it, fantastic. Hey, if it encourages some of the influencers who are taking part to come back, then great. Who knows? KSI could get so excited by HYROX, he'll be on the phone to finally agree to his side of being a sponsor.
Too right, too right. I think it's great. I do. I know I've just been taking the mickey out of it there, Ian, but you're right. As in, you get 32 major influencers taking part. This could be absolutely massive for HYROX. HYROX is already a global leader. This could be massive. They don't need the space, but they're going to get it. Just one little thing on that, Ian. I didn't hear no mention of any females influencers. I think that's maybe where they got it wrong. They need both.
Yeah, I'm not sure. As we're recording this, we've of course not been looking at the news for the last 2 days since Wednesday, Alan, as we're recording this, because we've both been super, super busy. So there's a potential that we've missed the news of another race being announced with female athletes. I hope that's the case. There were heavy rumours that there might be more than one event taking place over this period. But you are right. Honestly, I would have preferred mixed.
Yeah, mixed would have been absolutely amazing. Yeah.
But I guess we'll wait and see. Maybe there's just not enough female YouTubers out there who are comfortable in a sporting competition, because there's lots of YouTubes out there. Just because you're a YouTuber doesn't mean you'd enjoy doing a HYROX.
No, true. I just hope there is. Maybe watch this space in, and I'll take it back if there is.
Yeah, absolutely. Watch this space. And the other aspect of it, though, is what they could have done, which would have been really, really cool, but probably couldn't do it because of how close it was to the race and to the upcoming world champs. They could have paired some of these influencers with elite 15 athletes, because that would then sort out some of the issues. So you could have had like KSI and Sinead Bent, for example, representing the UK. You could have found some other female, because there will be there will be multiple YouTubers out there who would be able to do HYROX and would be excited. So it might then be easier to team a female Great British YouTuber up with a Charlie Bottrell. So you're not having to find two from every country. But it's first time they've done that. I hope it goes well, and we'll see how it goes. Last topic from me on fitness racing, Alan. I mentioned World Championships there. This week, HYROX have announced an adjustment to their World Championship allocation for age group. Do you want me to set the table on that?
Set the table for me. What's the change?
Okay, previously, what had always happened is after every race, before a race, they'd say so many spots are going to be allocated to the age group world champ. Yeah. They don't call it age group. I'm calling it that to make it easy. We all understand. If someone got an offer and didn't accept it, it would then roll down to the next person.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many times it would roll down. It may have just rolled down once. It may have rolled down a couple of times. I'll be honest, I think it might have varied as it got closer to World Championships. So close to World Champs, it may roll down a bit further because we wanted to make sure that they had enough people in each wave, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
This coming World Championships from Copenhagen and Glasgow, now it seems only the winner will get an invitation. Okay. So only one spot.
Yeah.
If the winner has already qualified for World Champs, then they'll go down the list, or then to second, then to third place, and keep going until they find someone who hasn't qualified.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
That person or team will get offered the spot, and if they accept, fantastic. If they don't, the spot doesn't get used.
Oh, wow.
So effectively, that means it may now be harder to qualify in the end races than it is had you took part earlier on in the season.
Wouldn't it be easier to qualify in the end races rather than the beginning of the season? Because in the end races, you're potentially going to have quite a lot of people that have already qualified. So therefore, you could actually come 10th or 11th in the last race of the season and get a qualification spot.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's what's often happened. As you can expect, with any change, the internet reacted really calmly.
That tells me it didn't, because I know what you mean when you say that. Did they blow up? Did they absolutely blow up?
They did, although, again, it's hard for me and you to comment because, unfortunately, we're never going to qualify. So I don't want to be mean to anyone, but my view on it was exactly as you kind of said there, Alan, that if you race later in the season, you've already got slightly better odds because the people ahead of you have already qualified. This almost feels like a little bit of a reframing to ensure that the World Championship is as competitive as possible.
Yeah, I must say I don't dislike it, and I don't know. See, you could turn around and we know there's some courses that are faster than others, and I don't know what they are. You could probably tell me which course is faster than another, but you get more people go to that race and put a fast time down, and then come the end of the season, you might have a hard course, an hard running section, and they might miss out. But they probably would have bought a better time earlier on in the season. But because they were out of it, because the only top person went through and it went down to wherever it were, they couldn't qualify. But now, running later on in the season, they have got a better chance. I like it. I do like it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, a lot of the gnashing of teeth was because you look at things through your own lens. I have been contacted by people who are like, "Oh, I finished third, and the person in second had no intention of going to the World Champs, but they've not qualified, and they'll get the offer, and that spot will get wasted." I can completely understand that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there is that bit as well, isn't there?
Yeah, you've got this aspect that people may unintentionally start blocking spot.
What would happen? Let's say the third race into the season, you finished third, and the two people above you got first in race one, first in race two, and they filled the spots. So the two people above you filled the spots. You don't accept the spot there and then. They offer you the spot you don't accept because you're not going to go to the World. But then we got to race 10 in the season, and your schedule's now changed, and you then go and win that race. You then get offered a spot, and you're going to take it. But you've already turned a spot down earlier on in the season. What happens with that?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm aware that built into the system is a number of times you can reject a spot before you're automatically passed over. I don't know how many numbers you can do that. I don't think it's released anywhere, but you are right. It almost becomes a case of it's kind of better to accept a spot and take the hit if there's any chance you're going to possibly qualify for World Champs. It's definitely slightly different. I dare say it's because as HYROX has got more popular, people are accepting more spots. So the formula that HYROX used to work out, look, how many spots can we give in each race, got busted because more people were accepting than expected.
Yeah.
And it happens. Best laid plans. Do I think it's great that it's happening at the end of the season? No, not really. But on the other hand, you kind of not lost what you never had.
Yeah.
In that, I'm not quite sure that trying to finish fifth and hoping the people ahead of you just let the spot roll down is the best strategy.
Yeah, no, it's not. Definitely not the best strategy. I don't know where they're going to go with this. I can see both sides.
Yeah, I might sound dismissive, but I'm not meant to. I have full sympathies to anyone who last year would have got a spot who this year will not, because it does feel a bit wrong that it's changed halfway through. But I can also see like you say, the counter argument. Final bit of racing news. I lied, listener. There was one final bit. That is that HYROX has announced its global calendar. We've got it on UK HXR thanks to our friends at ROX Radar. So it's on there. So by all means, go and have a quick look at that. From a UK point of view, only 3 races announced so far, and they're the same as last year's autumn races. We've got Birmingham, we've got Dublin, we've got London XL. Big news is that Birmingham is going to be a 6-day event, Alan, and we're going to start on the Tuesday, finish on the Sunday.
Wow. Bigger and bigger. Getting bigger and bigger.
It is. I do worry at what point is the peak, shall we say, Alan? Because what I did notice at Glasgow was a lot of times, as I was running around the course, there were a lot of judges who were office angels, and I was there on a Saturday. I know that traditionally Scotland has been a bit tougher to get volunteers to, but I would have expected, and I'm running around on a Saturday afternoon, that most of them would have been volunteers, and it doesn't look like, for whatever reason, they've managed to convince a lot of people from Scotland to come and volunteer. I did see 2 Tough Mudder veterans. I saw Craig, I saw Pauline. They were volunteering, but outside of that, there was a lot of staff. So where will the point come, Alan, when there's just too much and you can't get the staff?
Yeah, because people volunteer, and we know this, that will volunteer to get that free race. And if they're can potentially book it because it's not sold out, not oversubscribed, then they're going to book it, aren't they? Which then means that takes a volunteer away from you. But then on the other hand, 6 days, if I was going to go to any of these events, I'd probably stop over and volunteer the next day or the previous day before my race. Then you get your next race for free.
That's a good point. And obviously it's balancing up of costs of staying overnight compared to the ticket. But even so, it's a good thing to bear in mind, isn't it?
It's certainly.
Right, Al, I'm out of notes. Have you got anything left to talk about?
I've got 2 things, Ian, just 2 little topics, yeah, and I'm not going to do anything fast about them. First of all, coming out on Monday's podcast, we have got Who's Hot, because Tartan Warrior is on the doorstep, as well as the UK OCR Awards on the doorstep. Race of the 3K series, the UK OCR series, everything's happening at Tartan Warrior. Going to be one amazing weekend. But I also, listeners, I want you to go back to last week's podcast if you're not listening to it, and listen to Monday's podcast. Not last week's, this week, sorry. Listen to Monday's podcast about the British Obstacle Sports Endurance League, because we had a lot of people contact us regarding World's Toughest Mudder and the bonus points. And if you listen to it, you're going to be pleasantly surprised that you've got a better chance of scoring points away from World's Toughest Mudder. I'm not going to track from World's Toughest Mudder. It's an amazing top quality race. But if you want to score points in the British Obstacle Sports Endurance League, check out the podcast and find out why you're better off going to other races. And that's me done, Ian.
That's you done. And we should point out, even if you have no interest in the Endurance League, it's always fun when Alan and Michelle get together. Always makes for a fun podcast, so definitely give it a listen. With that being said, though, it's a goodbye from me.
And listeners, it's a goodbye from me. You take care, you stay safe, and we'll speak to you all soon. Bye!